What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sip Off, where we have drinks and talk all things basketball. I am your host, Megan Price, and we got a special show for you guys tonight. It is all WNBA as we near the finals. But first, let me go ahead and get my co host in here. I got Jahan Phillips. What's up,
What's
Jahan?
up? What's up?
How
How
are
are you?
you?
I'm
I'm all right.
all right.
I'm all
Just all right.
good.
Just okay. It's not okay.
It'll be better when the weekend gets here.
Okay.
It's been one of those weeks. I'm ready to put it to bed.
Gotcha. I get it. Busy but productive.
For you, okay, that's great.
Busy but productive.
The time honored answer there.
Yeah.
What are you drinking tonight?
I have a lot. I got some
Oh,
Crown Apple. I
okay.
got a mixture. This is like some Sun Drop and some Crown. And then I got
Okay.
some beer. I think that's what I'm going with. That's what I'm gonna go with. I think
Beer.
that's the
Okay.
three.
I got a little Crown Apple. Got to finish this off tonight, and then of course I've been drinking the Modelo Ranch waters.
Yeah. Ranch Waters.
I like them. It's not too much flavor. I like the seltzers. You don't like them.
Nah.
Like go back to the Topo Chicos.
Topo Chico.
Okay.
Topo Ricos.
All right. So on Tuesday, we got to see a couple of game fours. One resulted in a team going home and another team going to the finals, and the other resulted in a game five, which is happening right now. So let's go ahead and talk about the Chicago Connecticut matchup in game four. This was a huge loss for Chicago. I think it says a lot about Chicago more than Connecticut, even though I think Connecticut is scrappy. And I think this was just that step that they needed to take as far as having some postseason success because they basically had none. So
Right.
they were finally able to have a little postseason success, but I don't expect them to get out of game five. But I think this kind of shows what level Chicago's at. So they lost in that game 104 to 80. So brutal loss. And this was in Connecticut. So tonight's game is in Chicago. Talk to me about this game and what you saw.
Um, Complete domination game four from the Connecticut Sun. 66 points in the paint, 100 points overall. Completely unexpected. Um, Chicago is so well rounded. Like they don't have one person that's like gonna beat you. It's 4 or 5 people that can beat you. As you can see, all their scoring is relatively close. KFC, I think she led the team in scoring this year. But Candace, setting double records in the playoffs.
Right.
Candace giving unreal games that's never happened in WNBA history. Candace is being Candace. Quigley and Vandersloot, they are who they are. They're gonna night in night out get that consistency, that production that they're gonna give you. Um, it shocked me though. I can't lie because I thought that this collision course was always going to be Las Vegas, Chicago. In the WNBA finals, I thought they were going to steamroll through. I think Chicago has looked very beatable throughout this entire
Mm-hmm.
playoffs. Liberty had them on the rope.
Agreed.
Now you see Connecticut having them on the ropes. Like I say, it would not shock me if Connecticut wins tonight. It wouldn't shock me now. It surprised me prior to game four, but it wouldn't shock me now because Chicago just seems to be playing like they're not the champs. They're playing like they're hunting instead of they're being the hunted. Um
Right.
and it's like they're going through some games and it's not high energy for them. It's just like we're here and you got to lie down because we're the champs. Um,
Right.
I believe that I believe, like I say, the collision course is gonna happen. This is Vegas, Chicago. This is what I thought it was gonna be. WNBA
Mm-hmm.
finals. for the
Like
entire.
when we saw him at the Commissioner's Cup, everybody was saying this is likely a finals preview.
Yeah.
And I still feel that way. And my thought was like when they had such a big deficit in Game 4 that Chicago was going to come out really, really dominant. And currently, I think it's 30-25 with Connecticut up. They're going to have to go to half and come out dominant. Like I thought they were going to come out dominant in quarter one, but I mean it's still early. Like there's
Connecticut's up.
Connecticut is up.
Taking a fight. They're taking a fight to the champs. I mean, here it is. Like once again, you just got blown out in Game 4. Right. Like a 20-point blowout in Game 4. It to me, you got to come out and you're at home. Game 5 must win. Game 5. It's winner take all. Game 5. You got to come out.
So Candace isn't on the board yet. KFC has 5 points. Mieseman has 4, and then Sloot, she's got 10. So that's your top scorer right now for Chicago.
Right.
On the other side of things, we got Heidemann, who I thought was massive in this series. Like she is a 3-point shooting machine. Like she's really talented. She's got 10 points. Then you got Courtney Williams, who came from ATL and has had a great season with Connecticut. She's got 6 points so far, 2 assists.
I think Dewana Bonner has been the
huge
supreme, just giving everything this series. Like it ain't even on the
and even in Dallas.
Scoring.
Yeah, even in Dallas, like once, and you know, shout out to Kurt Miller to adjusting because he moved her to the 1, and that was the difference maker in Game 3 of the Dallas series. So she's the only one on this team that has a ring, and then Jonquel Jones right now, she's got 8 points, 2 assists, and 3 boards, and that's your reigning defending MVP from last season. Now, we'll get to that in just a second as far as the awards, but there is a new MVP. Thoughts on what's going to happen in this game? Because right now we're looking at 30-27.
Look, can we see a Chicago Sun shock the world? I mean, I'll be the first to admit on here if I was wrong. The next episode that we come on, like I say, I predicted Aces Sky. I thought the world champs definitely would get back to defend it, but if Connecticut can pull this off, I mean, hats off to them. They got swept by the Chicago team in the regular season. So
they did.
Even
okay, and then also on that, they beat so if they make it to the finals, they beat the Aces 1 game this season too. Now Vegas did to get the other 2 games, but they have beat them at least once, so it's achievable.
I can't see nobody messing with them. They got too much firepower.
Okay, so let's slide up.
It's ugly. It's ugly.
Let's go ahead and slide over to Vegas and Seattle. Okay, so in this game, this was the game that the team that got sent home. Obviously, Seattle got sent home. This was a really close game, and that's exactly what you said, that this was going to be a close game. Aces came out on top, 97-92, and then in Game 3, we saw it go to overtime, and it was a bigger deficit than what the game was. It was 110-98, but it was close all game. It was once they got out of regulation, once they got to overtime is when we saw Vegas really just smash the gas, and Seattle had nothing left in the tank. So not only was this Sue Bird's last game, which we're going to save Sue Bird's career highlights for the very last show of the season for us, which will be the 22nd of this month. So we'll talk about Sue Bird later on, but want to talk a little bit about Breann January, because this also was her last game of her career as well. Yeah. Breann is from Spokane, Washington, which is known for basketball, whether it's men's or women's. And then she went to college at Arizona State from 2005 to 2009. She was a 12-year pro. She was picked 6th overall in 2009 by the Indiana Fever. She's a champion. From that tenure there. She was there from 2009 to 2017, and she got a chip with Tamika Catchings in 2012. She played 2 seasons with the Mercury, 2018 and 2019, and then she played 2 seasons with the Connecticut Sun, 2020 and 2021, and then she's been with Seattle this past season. I think her going out with Sue was probably the best goodbye that she probably could have came across. They both were highlighted on their farewell tour, and if you're an Arizona or a Pac-12 fan, then you got to love Breann January, because she's the one that got them to the Elite 8 there in Arizona State. So any comments on that?
Uh, I just want to say that the fact that she is a champion, and I like that Phoenix Mercury shouted her out for what she's meant to Arizona basketball.
What's up, baby?
Um, I really like that aspect that they did the other night.
Right.
Um, just defensive is what you could say.
Oh,
Hey,
she made the all defensive team 6 times. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
defensive is what you're gonna think for her. Like I say, the shout out to the championship that she got with the Fever.
Mhm.
Uh, even though we know that as like we said as Tamika Catchings' team, still she was a
Right.
contributor of that. Her numbers retired with Arizona State. Cara Tenuto.
Believe in the Pac-12.
Yeah,
And on that note, let's do a shot real quick.
doing a
We're gonna do
shot.
a shot. We doing a shot for Bria in January.
We'll do a shot for her. But yeah, it's definitely hats off to a great career. Hats off to ending it her way. A lot
Right.
of people don't get to do that.
Right.
Shout out to the Storm for recognizing her. I know it
Okay,
was
and so
a Seabird moment.
they were the champions in 2020. So they were the Wubble champions, right? And they played
Wobble.
Vegas. That's what they called it, the Wubble. They played Vegas in the finals. Obviously, they beat Vegas because Vegas doesn't have a championship as of yet. But I thought that was just really great that Sue's 41 years old. Here's Brienne. She's 33 years old, and
35.
they're
35.
still oh my bad, 35, and they're
Yeah.
still incredibly competitive. Like,
Yeah.
do I think it was time for Sue to hang it up? Yes, but what a great way to hang it up because you're still competitive.
Let
You're
me ask
not
you
going
this though.
out.
Let me ask you this though.
Okay,
Cause I seen something out of Sue where I feel like she could do one more if necessary. Cause like, okay,
she
in,
could.
in that game that went to OT before the Aces blew it open. Game
Right.
Game three.
Uh huh.
All right, so she hits the three. She comes down and hits the three to put them up 90-92. 92, yeah, 92-90.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. But it just looked like something there that was like, look, like I still maybe can do a year. Maybe look a journeyman, maybe kind of Ray Allen aspect. Kind of I come in and just my specialty is just shooting, something like that.
I mean,
Maybe
I
get a
think her
gold ring.
game is, I think her game is more dimes. Like she's more the CP3 type of guard. Like
Right.
she definitely distributes the ball more than she actually gets points. Not to say that she's not a good shooter, but like that's what I still see out of her, and I still see flashes of greatness because she had some beautiful dimes
Yeah.
in the series. And so yeah, I think she had one more in her, but I think it was the right time because if you can't go out on top, why not go out still at the top, at the peak of your career at that? Because here you are. Now, you didn't make it to the championship, but you made it to the semifinals, which is the stage right before that. So you're still competitive. You still kept some teams from making it. So who'd they beat the first round to get here?
They beat
Washington.
Washington
And,
Mystics.
and
Washington
Washington,
Mystics.
yeah, Washington was not any chumps this season. They played well. They were
Yeah.
in the top 5 all season long. So, um, I felt like that was good for both Sue and Brienne. Like, go ahead and head out. You're not going out looking like people are telling you, like, man, she should have retired last year. Like, you're going out and Michael Jordan, many of those years when they were like, hey, it's time. You should have hung it up a while ago.
You know, it happens. It happens.
It happened. So, a shot to Brienne.
Oh yeah, definitely shout to Brienne. I would just want to say it again, crew. Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Definitely. Okay, so let's talk about the awards that came out. You gonna huff and puff? Huh?
Yeah, because I saw this voting for this one award, and I was thoroughly disappointed. But
Which one were you?
I was thoroughly disappointed in this MVP voting. It was
In the
way more.
MVP?
Yeah, out like just the voting. I thought it should have been a lot closer than it was for a certain individual. And the fact that she received no first place votes is astonishing to me. I feel like what she did this year kind of went underappreciated. I
You're
think
talking about KP?
yeah, I'm talking about Kelsey Plum.
Okay.
I think I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from the who we're about to talk about. This is not a knock. This is not a disservice to that phenomenal season. Like well deserved MVP. I just felt like the voting should have been a lot closer than it was between first and third. It was close between first and second, but I felt like first, second, and third should have been a lot closer, and they completely blew the doors off third. And I thought that just was a disservice to what she was able to accomplish this year, leading the Aces in scoring,
Right.
being the first 700-point scorer in Aces history. I mean,
Right. But I mean, Asia also.
yeah, Asia did too, but
she achieved that as well.
right, but she did it second. I mean, like
Correct.
who remembers who moonwalked second? I mean, everybody knows Neil
Right.
Armstrong. You know,
Okay, so let's talk what we know about the awards so far. So executive of the year went to James Wade, and I think that solely went off of him drafting Rebecca Gardner. Rebecca Gardner's 31 years old, got drafted, was playing overseas. He saw her overseas and was like immediately had to get her. So and I think that was an excellent move. And plus he kept a good portion of his roster, his championship roster. Now he did lose Dolson, he did lose the Shields. But I think for Diamond, I
but they're
think
right
that
back in the WNBA semifinals with all these
right,
losses. Like,
right, and that like even though they went into the number 2 seed, you reminded me yesterday that they have the same record as Vegas. It's just that Vegas had the tiebreaker. So I mean, they were comparable all season long. Then Coach of the Year, we weren't really surprised about that. That was Becky. She had the best start of all time in WNBA history. I think she went on like a 13-1 run starting off. And then Rookie of the Year, not surprising. We saw Ryan Howard get Rookie of the Year, well deserved. But want to shout out Shakira Austin because if Ryan Howard hadn't been coming out this year, she would have been Rookie of the Year.
Oh, for sure.
Sixth Woman of the Year was Connecticut.
Brianna Jones.
Brianna Jones. And then Comeback Player of the Year was Alyssa Thomas. And then Defensive Player of the Year was A'ja Wilson. And then A'ja Wilson also got the MVP. I'm on the other
Young
side.
Got most improved.
Thank you. Jackie Young got most improved. Now, that's one that I kind of disagree with. Don't get me wrong. I think Jackie had an excellent season, but I think she was in position to have this already. Like her season last year was not that bad. Like she was an integral part of their offense last season. And so for me, it wasn't necessarily this season that we saw her take that step forward. Like she did take a step forward, but not as big as Sophie Cunningham. I think Sophie Cunningham probably should have got most improved player. Just my opinion. There was a lot of shine on Vegas this year, and we see why. They're extremely dominant.
Absolutely.
We see why they're extremely dominant. And for me, I'm on the other side of things now. I do think that KP should have got some recognition because she's going to finish the year number 3 in scoring. And then she leads the league in 3-pointers. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So like she did a lot this season. And you want to talk about integral part of Vegas. Like she's a huge part of their offense. She gets really hot with the 3-pointer, obviously. I personally I love defensive players. You know this. And so when we've been talking about the MVP debate all season long and especially all playoffs long. And it was like just a preference. Like if you're more an offensive player, you like the offensive players a little bit more, you're going to think that Kelsey should have got the MVP. If you like someone that is more 2 ways and they may not score the most, but they're going to bring it other places in the stat line, you're going to go for A'ja because, she brought it on the blocks. She brought it on the rebounds.
She brought it in scoring too. I mean, she brought it in scoring.
She brought it in scoring too, but not at the same level as KP.
Right. I mean, it's no knock. It's no knock. A'ja Wilson just put together one of the greatest seasons ever. I mean,
Right.
there is absolutely no knock. Well deserved. Congratulations, MVP. I just think like when we do this kind of voting, I think we don't take everything into account. Like what Asia has done is admirable. But I believe that when these awards get announced later, playoff stock goes into it, even though it's a regular season award. I believe that
Right.
playoff stock goes into it because you've seen some games from Asia in these playoffs where it was like, whoa, like, and regardless of it being a regular season award, I think some voting has gone into it that they'll
There was
say,
some influence. There was
yeah,
some influence from the players.
definite
It has
influence.
to be.
Yeah, definite influence. Like I say, there's any of the three ladies that finished top three were deserving, and I wouldn't have argued any of them being MVP. I just think, like I say, it was to me, it was just so far of a gap in between first and third that I was kind of floored by that. I just thought, oh,
Right.
all right, like like I don't know. And then like we saw Swoops's list, like I just felt like she
So
had
she
insider
had
information.
KP,
She had like kind of like insider information a little bit. I felt
didn't
like,
she?
yeah,
And I felt like she was wrong. I was like, oh no, because I
yeah,
felt like KP was so hot at the moment. I was like, man, she's
yeah.
not really
I
getting a
felt like
whole lot of
she had some
love.
insider information because it
She
was like
did.
she was like dead on, and I was like, whoa, what is that?
You know what I think? I think she was a little tipsy and she was on air. She let it
Yeah,
slip.
yeah, she let it slip. But
Hey,
like, and
that's okay.
she gets a vote. I'm assuming she gets a vote as
Well,
a former
yeah,
MVP. She would know.
right.
Like she would
And
know.
so Asia joins seven ladies who, or she's one of seven who have multiple MVPs, and then she's one of five who have MVP and Defensive Player of the Year as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're not. When you look at the MVP awards, you're going to see a lot of the same faces, and
Oh
especially
yeah.
during that time at that time period at the beginning of the league, like it was Swoops or Coop,
Coop
you know,
or
yeah,
Leslie. Swoops, Coop,
or
Leslie.
less for like 12 years, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Like it was like, yo, whose turn is it this year?
right. So let's talk a little bit about the third person who was in the voting for MVP, and that was Brianna Stewart. So, and I'm gonna do a little free form right here because she had a massive performance in her final game of the season, and I'm talking about Brianna Stewart. I've got some of her shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Go catch your Pumas if you don't have some. She had 42, 2, and 7 in her final game. Now the last possession didn't go exactly the way she had hoped, but really she put the team on her back and carried them through that entire game.
Team on my
Th-
back.
yeah, because there was 92 points and she had 42 of those points, so like that's a massive performance right there. Now there's lots of talk about next year. Where do we see her? Because she only signed a 1-year contract. And when I first thought about it, because she went and visited New York and one other team. I can't remember who else it was, but she went and visited New York, and that seemed to be like the place that she might end up. Stephanie Dolson was going to end up there as well, and it looked like they were just kind of priming the way for Stewie to get there. But Stewie signed a 1-year deal with Seattle because Seattle marked Joel Lloyd as their core player, which absolutely should have. She's going to be the future of the team right there. I mean, Stewie too, because Stewie's not incredibly old, but Joel Lloyd is definitely going to be the direction you go with as far as guard on that team. And so, did they do that just to free up cap space, pay Jewel what she needed to be paid, and then Stewie was like, "Hey, basically take a franchise tag type of thing. Like we'll pay you for 1 year. Next year, when we allot a little bit more money, we'll pay you your big contract to stay." Or is she going to end up in New York?
Listen, New York with that duo would be devastating. But
okay, but there's only one ball. That's my thing.
They would still be devastating. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, like it's too much. I feel like that would make them automatic favorites out of the East. Like automatic, they would be number one in the East.
Okay.
I don't think anybody could contend with that duo. But at the same time, like the Aces as constructed, I feel like there's way too much, and it's their world, and we living in it right now. FTA always, but it's like right now, it's like pick your poison, because this playoffs, you would think that Chelsea Gray is the MVP.
Right. Okay. Because
Like
she
like
has balled
like
out.
this playoff, she's been MVP in my opinion.
MVP of the playoffs for sure. Now we'll see if
Yeah,
she's able to hit MVP of the finals.
right. But
Um,
like Chelsea's been doing just phenomenal things.
she's the first one to have 30 plus points and 10 assists in a playoff game. So even Sue Bird don't have those numbers. And then she had back-to-back 30-point games also. So last game, the game that sent Seattle home, she had 31, 10, and 6. Chelsea Gray been doing big things. I love Chelsea Gray. I call her point god.
My
Um,
God.
and a lot of times throughout the regular season, like she wasn't the focus of their offense. Now she ran their offense and ran it well, as a true point guard should. But as we've seen her kind of step into her shine in these playoffs, like she's been putting up the points plus the assists, So and high praise from her coach. Becky said that if she calls something and then Chelsea calls something, you listen to Chelsea because she knows what she's doing. And I was
Right.
like, dang, a coach just gave you all her faith right there. And
Right.
a great coach at that. So high praise. All right. So real quick, 2 early predictions for the finals. What you think is going to happen?
Best of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Aces
And
4-1.
Chicago's up right now.
Aces 4-1.
Aces 4-1. Okay.
Oh,
Uh,
over.
I'm going to say something similar. Yeah, maybe. Mm, maybe 3-2. I can see Chicago getting 2 games.
Wait,
It
3-1.
seems.
Excuse me. Is it 3-1? It would be 3-1, wouldn't it? In the best of
Oh,
5?
3-1.
3-1. I
Oh,
said
yeah,
4-1. Excuse me.
we did this last episode too.
Yeah. Excuse me. 3-1.
I do think that Chicago could get 2 games, but I don't see them running it back this season, just because of what Vegas has going on. And I think we all knew that going into the season, like before they even played the game, we were like, man, Vegas is tough. So I expect that. Now I'm going to go ahead and let Chicago get 2 games. I think it's going to go the distance of five games, but Vegas is going to win in that very last game. Because did you know that? Hold on, let me look up the numbers. But the Sue Bird game, I just had that up too. It was the second highest viewed game in history, or well, on ABC for the WNBA. Let's see. They had 1.4 million viewers, and it's the second most viewed WNBA game ever on ABC. So huge numbers for Sue.
Huge number. Huge
All right,
numbers.
and then real quick, we had some NBA news come out this morning too. In the what is it going to be? The Clippers home opener game, they're going to announce that the NBA is going to have 2 expansion teams. The NBA is going back to Seattle, and then they will also be in Vegas. So, not when does that start? Do you know what season?
No, not at all. I just the news about Seattle Supersonics being back was huge though. I was happy for
Are they
that.
going to be Are they going to be the Supersonics though?
Yeah, they gotta give them back their name and their team and their history.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's gotta be the move. I like that they're gonna be back. Um, I like that they're gonna get all their history back. Just basketball is better when the original teams are back and the original teams are good. Like, well, I feel like sports in general, I know this is a basketball show, but like even college football, when certain teams are good, college football is better. Um,
Well, the
just
same like LeBron said last year, when New York is good at basketball, the league is better.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I agree with that statement.
me too. Like, it just you want teams that used to be traditionally powerhouse to be good.
Bring back the Charlotte Sting.
Huh?
I said, bring back the Charlotte Sting.
Bring back the Charlotte Sting. But not only that, but I'd like to see the Hornets back making playoff runs, at least. So that would be good. But you never can tell with this kind of stuff. I feel like it's cyclical. You don't stay bad for long, and you don't stay good for long either. So unless you're the Clippers.
And no, there were some years that they were good, but they've never really been great, in my opinion.
I'm mostly taking shots at a co-host of ours.
Ghost
host from the West Coast.
Yeah, he's MIA once again.
Taking shots at him.
Let's do a shot.
All right.
And that's how we're going to end the show. I do love that Seattle is getting their team back, but I love the culture that Vegas is having with their sports team. Their hockey team does great.
Yeah.
Now they're going to have a NBA team. Their WNBA team has been good every single year that they've been there. So
they're going to have a championship WNBA team.
They are, and their fans are dedicated. So I love to see that.
The Raiders are getting good. The Raiders are getting back.
And also, if you guys are, which we don't have a whole lot of viewers right now, so most of y'all are probably watching the NFL. Bills are up 7-0 on the Rams.
Ooh, defending champs.
I picked the Rams. Fuck.
Me too. I took the Rams. It's all right.
All right. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, guys. Well, thank y'all for watching. Thank you for commenting. And if you share the show, we appreciate it. Go follow us on Twitter. You can find me at the Queen of Hoop. And go check out our YouTube page.
Yeah.
I always forget to plug it. Good night, y'all.
Good night.